Good morning. Today we're going to talk about one of the preeminent and predominant or dominant theories in international relations. It's liberalism. Specifically, we'll be talking about some of the basic assumptions of liberalism. Here's an outline that we'll try our best to follow in today's lecture. And if you have any questions, you can just butt in at any time. Okay, so first of all, what comes to mind when we speak of the word liberal, or by extension, liberalism? What comes to mind? Certain words, even certain countries for that matter.
Freedom.
Okay. What else?
America.
Okay, fair enough. America. Anything else?
Free of ideas.
Okay, so freedom of speech. Okay. These are some of the things that come to mind typically when one mentions the word liberal. And all of these things are intertwined with liberalism or liberal theories of international relations. The first basic assumption is that peace and cooperation are possible in the international arena. This is a far cry from the other preeminent theory in international relations, which is realist theory. Realist theory holds that states, nation states, are by nature cruel, greedy, and self-centered, self-interested. Liberal theorists hold, however, that this group of countries around the world can ensure peace, can ensure cooperation, can ensure stability. Now, this insurance of peace, cooperation, stability, such lofty words, really hinges on this part, part B. The domestic, or what happens in a particular country, rule of law, or whatnot, can translate itself into the international arena. So for instance, if there is peace and stability in the United States, which I'm sure you guys think there is, there is peace and stability in, say, what other countries can you come up with? Anyone? Think of countries that you perceive as peaceful and stable.
Chile.
Okay, Chile. Maybe France.
France.
Switzerland. What happens in France, what happens in Switzerland, what happens in the United States, domestically, inside their countries, can happen in the international arena. And by international arena, we are referring to a community of nation states. China, Japan, South Korea, Myanmar, so on and so forth. This is the community of states. Any questions so far?
So what you are telling is that if something happened in this country, for example, USA, this reflects in international problems?
It can, what happens in a particular country can be reflected on the international stage. And this goes back to our earlier point, point A, which says that peace, according to liberal theorists, that is, peace, cooperation, and stability are possible in the international arena. This possibility is ensured by our point B. The domestic situation being able to translate itself into the international arena.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it.
Conversely, like what you mentioned earlier, certain problems in the domestic arena can also be reflected on the international stage. So say there's unrest in one or a lot of countries, that can be translated into the international arena or the international scene.
Okay.
Alright, now, point C. Peace and cooperation, that is the basic, most basic and underlying assumption of liberal theory. Now, in order for peace and cooperation to occur, and here's where things get a little bit thorny and controversial, Western values have to permeate and pervade the international system. Remember the points you mentioned earlier? Freedom, America, freedom of speech, the freedom to assemble. All these things are perceived to be Western values. The origins, at least in the short term, the origins of the term Western values really find themselves in the post-war era. Remember World War II and how damaging and devastating it was, claiming victims from countries as far off as China and even the whole of Europe? The victors, or the winners of World War II, said that we want to avoid a World War III. We want to ensure peace, cooperation, and stability. Taking the lead of the United States, which really was, in a lot of ways, the leader after World War II, the United States and its allies said, we have to embark on a particular new world order. And this new world order can be dissected into these 4 mini points that we have on the board. They are abbreviated just to keep you on your toes and to keep you interested and to keep you curious. What exactly is DV? DV stands for democratic values. What are the kinds of democratic values that come to mind when that term is mentioned?
Popular election.
Okay, elections. You mentioned earlier freedom of speech, the freedom to assemble. Some countries do not afford their citizens the right to freely vote. They say, yes, there's an election, but the results don't matter. That isn't free and fair. Again, these are Western ideas. I realize that there are 3 Chinese students here, and it's really a good time to be talking about what is Western and what is not. Because for people from the West, quote unquote, these things may seem normal. Yes? Okay. Second, FV, free market values. When we talk about the free market, we talk about commerce, business, and the free exchange of goods. There was a point in the history of the world where there were about 25 perceived non-market societies, 25 communist or socialist states. That number is down to 4 today, which signals the perceived triumph of Western values. The 4 would be China, Vietnam, Laos, and Cuba.
Okay.
Third, and I still have 20 seconds, multilateral cooperation. We have international organizations like the UN. These foster cooperation, they try to foster peace. And for the last part, a rule-based society, the United Nations tries